Close your eyes, just for a moment, and let this truth settle into your being. You are the operant power. You do not need to complain about the world outside of you. The world is simply reflecting what you have accepted within. To protest, to argue, to lament, it is to give life to what you wish to be rid of. What you condemn, you cling to. What you bless, you release. The wise never complain because they understand. The world follows, it never leads, and never explain. To explain is to defend is to doubt, and doubt is the death of the miracle. When you know something is already yours, you do not explain your claim to anyone. Do you explain the air you breathe? No, because it is natural. So too should your assumption be natural, effortless, done. If you must speak, speak inwardly. Whisper to yourself the new reality. Close the door to the outside and enter the secret chamber of imagination. There, in that sacred space, assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Clothe yourself in it. Dwell in it until it becomes so familiar the outer world is forced to conform. Complaining delays miracles, explaining dissolves them. Only the silent knowing manifests. Live as though it is already done. Walk the earth in quiet confidence. Let the world wonder what changed. Let them see the miracle. But never tell them how, because you know the truth. It was done the moment you assumed it. Never complain, never explain, just feel it real and watch the miraculous unfold in ways no mind could predict. There is a sacred power in your inner silence that most overlook. In a world obsessed with noise, opinions, and reactions, silence has become a forgotten virtue. Yet it is within this very stillness that your creative power dwells. When you cease reacting to the outside world, when you no longer feel the need to respond, justify, or defend, you step into your true nature as the one who commands reality from within. Every outer event is simply a mirror of a previous inner state. The conditions you see in your world are not random, nor are they forced upon you by others. They are reflections of what you have assumed, believed, and accepted in consciousness. When you complain or react to circumstances, you affirm them. You say, "This is true for me," and in doing so, you breathe life into what you do not want. But the one who is still, who is silent, understands that the seed of change lies not in the reaction, but in the selection of a new inner reality. A quiet mind is not weak. It is not passive. It is focused. It knows what it wants, and it does not waste energy resisting what it no longer chooses. It turns away from appearances and looks within. It chooses to feel, to dwell, to believe in the unseen until it becomes seen. The world will pull at you. It will shout, tempt, and provoke. But your power lies in not answering that call. Your true authority begins where your reaction ends. When you refuse to be moved by the outer, you begin to move the inner. And the inner is the cause. Stillness is not inaction. It is creation at the highest level. You are withdrawing your energy from what you no longer accept and investing it in what you are now assuming to be true. It is in this silence that your new reality is formed. No struggle, no force. Just the gentle assumption impressed again and again upon the inner mind until it hardens into fact. You do not need to argue with your world. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth, your vision, or your dream. You simply become it. Silently, faithfully, persistently, the man who sits in silence, imagining himself into a greater life, is doing more for his future than the man who works feverishly while doubting inwardly. You must learn to rest in the unseen, to accept your desire as already true within, and to stop reacting as though it is not. This silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is knowing. It is a deep, unshakable confidence that what you hold within will appear without. You don't need to force it. You don't need to chase it. You only need to become it and remain unmoved by anything that says otherwise. That is your task. That is your true work. The quiet mind is the fertile ground of creation. Protect it, guard it, nourish it. Turn inward often and dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Speak little, react less, and know that in your inner stillness, miracles are forming, worlds are shifting, and your future is answering the call of your imagination. To complain is to affirm the very thing you wish would change. Every word of frustration, every sigh of disappointment, every explanation of why things aren't working, these are subtle declarations of ownership. When you complain, you say to the universe, this is mine. This lack, this pain, this limitation, it belongs to me. And what you claim, you continue to experience. You cannot complain about something and simultaneously rise above it. The two cannot occupy the same space. One must go. What you speak, you keep. Words are not idle. They are not casual expressions floating into empty space. They are seeds, and every seed once spoken with emotion and repetition begins to grow into experience. A person who constantly talks about their problems is constantly planting the same crop. And when that familiar harvest appears, more of the same pain, more of the same lack, they wonder why change feels impossible. It is because they are unknowingly loyal to their own suffering. There is power in your focus. Wherever your attention rests, energy flows, and wherever energy flows, reality forms. Complaining is nothing more than focused attention on what you do not want. You feed it with your thoughts. You water it with your words. And then you wonder why it won't leave. It won't leave because you keep inviting it back in through the door of your speech. But there is another way. You can starve the problem. You can rob it of its power by refusing to speak about it, not out of denial, but out of wisdom. You are not here to chronicle your misfortunes. You are here to create something higher. Instead of rehearsing what is wrong, choose to dwell in the feeling of what is right, even if it is only within. Speak of what you desire as though it already exists. Let your words be the construction of your new world, not the echo of your old one. The one who no longer complains has discovered something precious, peace. Peace is the soil in which all miracles grow. When you stop reinforcing the negative with your attention, it begins to lose its grip on you. You shift from victim to creator. You stop reacting and begin selecting. Your reality stops being something you suffer through and becomes something you shape. This is not about pretending. This is about choosing. You are not lying when you speak life into your situation. You are aligning with a deeper truth. The truth that you are not bound by what you see, but by what you accept. And the moment you stop accepting the undesirable by complaining about it, you open the door to transformation. Speak less of what troubles you and more of what delights you. Speak of love, not lack, of joy, not judgment, of gratitude, not grief. What you focus on, you feed. Feed the dream, not the doubt. Feed the future, not the fear. You are always manifesting. Your words are always working. The question is, what are they creating? If you truly desire change, then honor that desire with your speech. Let your words become a testimony of your faith, not your frustration. In silence or in joy, let your life be lifted, and let complaining be the thing you once did before you remembered who you really are. The need to explain is the subtle voice of doubt dressed in reason. When you believe something fully, deeply, and without question, you do not explain it. You embody it. It becomes a quiet knowing, a natural state, not something that requires validation or permission. But when there is hesitation in your assumption, when there is a crack in your inner foundation, the urge arises to defend, justify, or make others understand what you yourself are still trying to believe. To explain is to divide your power. It is to step out of the sanctuary of knowing and into the arena of opinion. The moment you seek to explain your vision, your desire, or your faith to others, you open the door to their doubts, their logic, their limitations. You hand over your inner world to be questioned by minds that do not see what you see. And in doing so, you subtly begin to question it yourself. You are no longer standing firm. You are standing on the shifting ground of approval. Real belief stands alone. It is silent not because it is secret, but because it is sure. It needs no witnesses, no applause, no agreement. It exists within you as a fact, long before the world can see it. The tree does not explain how it grows to the seedling beside it. The sun does not justify its light. So too should you live, shining, unfolding, becoming, without need to explain the process. Every time you explain your dream, you give away a piece of it. Not because others are unworthy, but because the dream is still forming within you. It is delicate. It must be protected. Explanation invites external measurement, and in that space, your assumption is reduced to a question. But your assumptions must never be questioned by the outer world. They must be honored by the inner world until they are made flesh. Those who manifest powerfully do not explain. They declare inwardly and move as if it is done. They do not argue for their limitations, nor do they seek permission for their vision. They accept it within, quietly, and then live as if the world must catch up, because it will. Let go of the need to be understood. You were not born to be explained, you were born to create. And creation happens in stillness, in faith, in the sacred space where nothing is seen, but everything is known. There is great strength in saying nothing, in simply becoming what you believe. You never need to prove yourself. The life you live will do that for you. The results will speak louder than any explanation ever could. When others see your transformation, your peace, your abundance, let them wonder, let them ask. And even then, you do not owe them an explanation. You owe only your alignment with the vision you've claimed as your truth. True belief is not loud. It is unwavering. It does not convince, it creates. Stand in that space. Assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled and hold it silently. Let that assumption be the final word. Not because the world agrees, but because you do. Everything you see around you, every condition, every circumstance, every person, every event, is the result of a cause far deeper than the surface. That cause is within you. It is your imagination. Not the fleeting kind used for daydreams or fantasies, but the sacred creative faculty that shapes the very framework of your life. You are not reacting to life, you are living inside the echo of your inner world. And when you truly understand that imagination is the root of all outcomes, you no longer chase external proof. You begin to plant internally. To imagine is to create. The unseen image you hold, the scene you return to again and again, the feeling you dwell in silently, these are the blueprints of your future. The outer world only reflects what you've accepted within. When you understand this, you stop trying to fix the mirror and begin shaping the face. You withdraw your energy from reacting to circumstances and redirect it into consciously forming the state you desire to live in. The secret is this. You must live inwardly in the state of the wish fulfilled, not as hope, not as possibility, but as reality. Imagination must become your true dwelling place, your truest reality. You must assume the feeling of the outcome already achieved and wear it like a garment. Think from it, speak from it, act from it. Not out of pretense, but from knowing. Most people wait for proof before they believe, but proof is only the echo. It is not the source. The source is always within. If you look to the world for permission to believe, you delay your manifestation. You become a servant of appearances rather than the master of them. But the one who dares to believe in the unseen begins to bend the seen to match it. Simulation is divine law in motion. What you accept as true within, the world must eventually confirm. It may not come through the door you expect. It may not come in the form or timeline your logic planned. But it will come, because the seed was planted, and all seeds bear fruit in due season. Your only task is to remain loyal to the unseen image and not let the noise of the visible distract you. This is not delusion, this is creation. Delusion is ignoring reality. Creation is understanding that reality is fluid, shaped by consciousness. When you live inwardly in the fulfilled state, you are not pretending. It is the outer world that is late, not your inner vision. Stay faithful to it, persist without needing reassurance. The world will catch up. You are always imagining something. The question is, are you doing it consciously or by default? Are you imagining what you want or what you fear? What you expect or what you truly desire? To live deliberately means to choose the inner picture and feel it real, regardless of what currently surrounds you. There is no power outside of this. Imagination is not a tool, it is the source, it is the cause. Everything else is just the shadow that follows. Begin now. Close your eyes, step into the scene of your heart's desire and dwell in it. Let the feeling take root. The moment you do, the wheels begin to turn, and soon what was once invisible becomes the reality you walk in. True confidence is not loud. It does not shout, demand, or chase. It is quiet, still, and deeply assured. It does not arise from external proof, but from internal knowing. When you truly know that your desire is already yours, there is nothing left to beg for, nothing to argue about, and nothing to defend. You simply live as though it is done, because in your consciousness, it already is. The one who walks in this kind of confidence is unmoved by appearances. They are not disturbed when the world does not yet reflect their assumption. Why? Because they understand that reality flows from within to without. They know the difference between what is real and what is temporary. The real is the unseen state they dwell in inwardly. The temporary is the world still catching up. So they remain still, they remain calm, they remain certain. Non-reaction is not passivity, it is mastery. It is the deliberate choice to not be pulled out of alignment. When someone doubts you, you don't respond with fear or defense. When circumstances contradict your desire, you don't panic or resist. You stay rooted in your vision, you stay faithful to the state of the wish fulfilled. This is confidence, the kind that needs no validation. To react is to lower your state. It is to step out of the knowing and into the questioning. But you cannot serve two masters. You cannot be both the creator and the complainer. You cannot walk in assurance and seek approval. Choose the higher. Choose the unseen and remain in it. The longer you hold the inner state without reacting to its opposite, the faster the outer must conform. Confidence is quiet because it already knows. It knows that what is felt inwardly, consistently, and persistently must externalize. There is no rush because there is no uncertainty. When you bake a cake, you don't open the oven every minute to check if it's done. You trust the process. So too must you trust the process of imagination. You planted the seed, now remain in faith. Arguing is for those who are unsure. Begging is for those who believe in separation. Defending is for those who still think they must earn what is already theirs. You, however, are different. You have assumed it. You have entered the state. You do not need to plead, you simply prepare. You do not need to fight, you simply feel. And your world responds not to effort, but to vibration. Let others question you, let the world misunderstand. It does not matter. The moment you knew it was done within, the outcome was guaranteed. Do not trade your peace for their approval. Do not abandon your state to prove a point. Stay quiet, stay calm, stay knowing. That is the posture of one who has already received. And so, live from the end, walk in the world as though your desire has already manifested. Let your silence be your confidence. Let your composure be your confirmation. You are not waiting, you are becoming. Not someday, but now. And in that still, non-reactive faith, your reality bends to match the truth you carry within. There is a sacred stillness where miracles are born. Not in striving, not in struggle, and not in desperation, but in the calm, quiet certainty that what you desire is already yours. The moment you stop grasping, stop doubting, stop chasing, and simply rest in the knowing, you activate a power far greater than effort alone. The universe begins to shift. Invisible forces move, circumstances realign, and all of it begins without noise, without spectacle, within stillness. Stillness is not the absence of action, it is the presence of total trust. It is a deep inner posture where you no longer feel the need to prove, plead, or push. You have assumed the end. You have felt it real. And now you wait, not in anxiety, but in peace. This is the waiting that creates. This is the quiet that builds the bridge from the unseen to the seen. You see, the universe does not respond to panic. It does not answer frantic thoughts or emotional turmoil. It responds to the vibration of faith, pure, stable, unshaken belief. And belief does not need to shout. It does not need to announce itself. It simply knows. Just as the earth knows how to rotate and the seasons know how to change, your desire knows how to find its way to you, if you allow it. When you are still, you are not passive. You are magnetic. You become a vessel open to receive. The doors that once seemed closed begin to open because you are no longer blocking them with fear and overthinking. You stop trying to control the how and instead surrender to the reality that it is already unfolding perfectly. The most powerful transformations often happen in silence. They begin within where no one can see them, until one day everything changes without warning. People call it coincidence, but you know better. It was not sudden, it was certain. You just chose to believe before the evidence appeared. That is stillness. Stillness is also strength. It is the refusal to be moved by what you see. You may be surrounded by circumstances that contradict your desire, but you do not react. You do not let them shake your inner world. You remain aligned with your vision. You remain faithful to the unseen, and that stillness becomes the ground where miracles take root. The mind will try to pull you into worry. It will whisper questions, doubts, and timelines. But your work is to return to stillness again and again, to breathe, to feel, to trust. Because every time you return to that space, you signal the universe, I am ready, I already have it, I am no longer searching, I am receiving. And in that receptive state, things begin to happen. People show up, opportunities appear, delays dissolve, not because you forced it, but because you made room for it. You cleared the noise, you cleared the resistance, you became still, and in that stillness, the miraculous emerged. So stop chasing, stop fixing, stop trying to make it happen. Instead, sit quietly with the end in mind. Feel it, know it, rest in it, and let the silence do what shouting never could. Let the stillness speak your desire into existence, because the universe always answers the one who dares to be still and believe. Your reality is not shaped by the noise around you, but by the silence within you. You don't need to complain about what's wrong. You don't need to explain what you believe. You only need to assume it is done and walk in the stillness of that knowing. Let the world wonder how it happened. Let them guess your secret. Because the miracle was never in the struggle. It was in your decision to believe, to imagine, to hold your vision without reaction, without noise, without fear. Miracles are not created by force. They unfold in the quiet confidence of one who trusts the unseen. So stand still, speak less, feel more, and live from the end. The moment you stop chasing and start assuming, the universe begins to move mountains on your behalf. Thank you for listening, for choosing faith over fear, and for remembering who you truly are. Until next time, stay still, stay certain, and watch the miracles unfold.